Hey everybody, welcome to Money's No Object. I'm your host, Dylan Howell. This is episode number 2 of our show on YouTube and on the podcast via iTunes and Spotify. I'm really excited to sit down again today and cover something that I think is extremely important to your personal financial life, and that is contentment. Contentment is key. Some of you may have heard that. That's something that I'm really going to key in on today, and we're really going to see how being content with what we have, being content in our particular lifestyle, can help us financially, can help us to grow forward and not get caught up in the rat race of life. Once again, this show is here to help teach you to steward your finances and to grow forward together in our knowledge of all things personal finance. Since I am just starting this channel, it'd be extremely helpful to me if you would like this video, leave any comments that you think, hey, this is particularly interesting. Maybe I should tell him about this, or maybe I should ask him this particular question. Leave those comments down below. Also, big red subscribe button. That really helps me out. That helps me to continue bringing you new content. Click the subscribe button. Also, the little bell, ding it, make it ding. It will bring you notifications about any time that we bring out new content. That would be super helpful to me and to you, that you are watching the content and know when it's coming out. You can also check us out on social media at MNO with Dylan. We're on just about all of the social media platforms. So just check us out and tell us what you think about any of our content. So let's dive right in. Like I said, we're talking about contentment. So what is contentment? Contentment in its simplest form is just being grateful for what you have. If I'm content, I can look around and go, I'm so grateful for having this car. I'm so grateful for the family that I have, and I don't necessarily need to have more to be happy with my life. I'm content in the place that I'm at. Contentment encompasses a couple other things as well. It, particularly for me, a person of faith, it takes into account trusting the provider, trusting the person, trusting the God that gives you the things that you have. And if you are trusting that God is good, and you're trusting that the things that He gives you are things that He believes will be good for you and that will prosper you in the long term, then you can be extremely content with what you have. You don't have to worry about having more. You don't have to worry about where your life's going to be if you don't get more stuff or more money. Contentment also has this little piece to it that I like to call crockpot timing, right? So if you're content with where you are, that doesn't mean that you don't want to move forward. That doesn't mean that you don't want to grow. What it means is that it's okay. It's okay where I'm at. It's okay that I am where I'm at. I've heard it put this way by Pastor Matt Chandler, that it's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay that way. And that's how I kind of look at contentment. It's okay to not be okay. You can be content in a not okay place, but it's not okay to just stay in that place. And so, like I said, crockpot timing has to do with moving slowly, allowing yourself to take deliberate steps forward, deliberate steps towards growth that aren't get-rich-quick schemes, that aren't things that are immediate and fast. I know we live in a culture where you need it today. Amazon Prime has got us all brainwashed into thinking we can get things tomorrow for free. That's not the case. Especially with your finances, especially with something like this where it takes time to grow. It takes time to make changes. And so you have to have that idea of crockpot timing if you're going to be content with anything in your life. Another big key to contentment is guarding your heart, guarding your emotions, not allowing that feeling of discontentment to creep into your life, because it can. It's extremely easy to look at I have a 2012 Toyota Camry. It's extremely easy for me to look at that car that has over 100,000 miles and go, man, there are people who maybe aren't doing as well as me, that have nicer cars than I have, that have things that I don't have or that I don't purchase. Don't I deserve those things? Don't I? No, that's discontentment. That's allowing yourself to fall into a place where you're not grateful for what you have, that you don't look at the plan that you have and go, my plan is good, my process is good, I need to trust that plan and that process for the things that I have and the things that I'm going to have. So it's okay to sit back and enjoy things that the culture and other people are going to tell you are not enough. And it's just not true. Things aren't what drive our happiness. Although, don't get me wrong, there are certain things that you have that you get really excited about, and that's okay. That's good. We work so that we can do particular things with our money, one of which is spend it. And so it's good that you are happy when you get new things, but don't allow your happiness, all of the joy that you have, to be driven by the things that you're getting, the things that you don't have that you want to go get with the money that you have. So let's talk about this for just a second. What does discontentment look like? Discontentment may look like envy, jealousy, covetousness. You've heard all these words. These are things that are directly from the Bible, directly from the scriptures, that are exactly what discontentment looks like. That idea of envy is that you don't want other people to have things because you don't think that you can attain those things. And how messed up is that? How messed up is the fact that I don't want you to have it because I don't think I can get it? That's a pretty scary place to be mentally and emotionally. The idea of jealousy is looking and going, I want what that person has. I feel like I should have that too. I should have that thing too. I should have that money too. And once again, super dangerous place to be if you are jealous every time that you look up, if you are looking at what other people have and just keep thinking, I need that thing. I want that thing because they have it. Also, that idea of coveting what other people have is extremely, extremely dangerous. All of these things though, envy, jealousy, covetousness, they're all going to lead you to being more and more discontent with your own life and where you are financially. Discontentment also looks like grumbling, complaining, moaning. All of these things are just keys of what discontentment looks like. If you look at your own life and you see that, man, I gripe a lot, I gossip a lot, I groan and moan about what other people have and what other people are doing that maybe I'm not doing or I don't have the opportunity to do, you probably need to check yourself. You probably need to spend some time reading scripture. Like I said, most of these ideas of contentment and discontentment are coming directly from the Bible. I'm a person of faith. If you're not, that's okay. You can still learn a lot from these particular concepts that I'm trying to cover. Discontentment is dangerous no matter what you believe. If you're always griping, if you're always just ate up with what other people are doing, then that's going to scar you emotionally. That's going to hurt you in the long term. That's a habit that you can fall into that is extremely, extremely dangerous. The thing that we like to do most, I feel like, in our culture is to compare. We look at social media and we see somebody else's highlight reel and we say, oh, that looks really good. Oh, that's awesome. I have to keep up with them. Have you heard of keeping up with the Joneses? That's exactly what that is. But it's not real. It's not a real thing. You're looking at other people who you don't know what they've had to go through to get that thing. You don't know maybe the amount of work or the lack of such that went into attaining something. They might not have the same life. They probably don't. They probably don't have the same life or the same plans for life that you have. So looking at what somebody else has and saying, oh, that's awesome. I have to have that. I want that. And it being simply because you see that other people have it, that's a dangerous place to be. That's a tough place to be in your own life, because once again, that's going to scar you emotionally. That's going to scar you in growing in your finances, in your life in general. It's going to scar you and make it to where every time you see something that you want, you see something that somebody else has that you attribute that person as being wealthy or cool or whatever it may be, you're going to have to go after that thing. And that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt when you're spending exorbitant amounts of money on things that aren't necessary, when you have payments that you don't need to have just because you want things that people that you've never met and you might even not like have. Discontentment can also cause a couple of other things. It can cause that bitterness inside of you. It can make you really sour. You ever see people with that sour face that just, you're like, that person's probably not happy with what's going on. It can make you bitter. It can make you angry. Once again, all this ties into some of the things I was talking about earlier with your moaning and groaning and all of that. But if you're seeing that in yourself, you can see that discontentment is creeping in. this is the big one, and I saved this for the last point of what is discontentment, because I think we can all relate. Worry and anxiety is discontentment. Worrying about tomorrow, worrying about not having, worrying about not keeping up is discontentment. And being anxious about things that are going to occur that are, in most cases, trivial in our lives, honestly. We get anxiety about trivial things simply because we're discontent with our own lives. We're not happy with where we are. Therefore, we put all of our chips on the table. We push everything in. We're all in on this particular moment or this particular event. And we get extremely anxious with what's going on. That's discontentment. That is you saying, I'm not happy with where I'm at. I am not content where I'm at. I'm not grateful for what I have and where I am. I need more to get to that place. Discontentment. That's exactly what discontentment is. So how do we stop this? How do we alleviate this discontentment? I think the first step is stop looking around. Stop looking on social media and going, I want to be like that person. And I like how they portray their lives. I want to portray my life in the exact same way. Stop looking around. Stop going out and saying, oh, look at that car. I want to be like that guy. I want to do what that guy's doing. That guy probably has 84 months worth of payments on that BMW and can barely make the payments. I'm not saying that's the case in all situations, but it happens more often than you think. So you don't know what other people are going through. You don't know what other people's lives really look like. All you see is the best. All you see is what they want to put out there in public. And when they do put that out there, I'm not saying it's wrong to aspire to do certain things, have certain things, whatever, but it can really anchor in your soul. It can really take a toll on how you look at life and how you look at the things that you have and how you look at your money. If all you want is more and all you want is to acquire more things, I promise you that's not going to make you happy. It's going to make you more of what you already are. And what you already are is discontent. What you already are is envious and jealous and covetous. If you're all those things, this more money and these more things are just going to make you more of that thing. And that's what's so difficult about this subject, is that it's all going to compound. It's all going to exponentially grow inside of you. And I just don't want that to happen. That's why we're even talking about this subject. The truth of the matter is, somebody is always going to have it better off than you. Always. It doesn't matter who you are. Warren Buffett is one of the top 5 richest individuals in the world. We all know who Warren Buffett is. There are still people richer than Warren Buffett. There are still people more successful in business than Warren Buffett. And that's wild to think about, but even he has to keep up with somebody. Even he has to chase after somebody. So there's never going to be a lack of people to chase after and money to chase after and things to chase after. But if you are content with where you are, if you're content with the situation that you're in and you want to implement that crockpot timing and a plan to grow forward, then those things are what's going to get you to where you want to be. Not this idea of I have to have it, I have to have it, I have to keep up with them, I have to keep going. That's just not going to work. So I said we have to stop looking around. Well, what do we need to start doing? We need to start looking up. We need to start looking to the plan that God has for our lives. We have to look at the idea that God is providing everything that we have. And if He's providing everything that we have, then what are we to be frustrated or unhappy or ungrateful or discontent with what He's provided? I know that there are tragedies in certain people's lives that haven't affected my own or haven't affected other people's lives. I know that people are born into particular situations that other people are not born into. I get that. But we all have a God that's providing for us. And contentment is not this idea of equal. Contentment is this idea of regardless of what I have, regardless of where I'm at, I'm going to be grateful. I'm going to be grateful for what I have and where I'm at. And where I'm at might not be a great place. I'm not saying to be content in bad places just for the sake of, oh, I love being in this bad place. No, be content in your bad place so you can grow into a good place, so you can make a plan, so you can have a roadmap, which we plan to help you with creating a roadmap into a better place in life, a better place with your money, a better place with your finances. At the end of the day, what we're all trying to do with anything that we buy, anything that we, really are envious of or jealous of or coveting, or the things that we moan and groan about, we're trying to fill a God-shaped hole in ourselves. We have this emptiness because we need God. We need God to fill that hole in our life. That's where the source of contentment is. The source of contentment is not just sitting around and saying, oh, I'm going to make this decision. Oh, I'm going to decide to do this. Those are great things. It's great to decide that you want to be content and decide that you want to put away some discontentment. But if you're not actively trying to fill that God-shaped hole with God by praying and by reading your Bible, it's not going to work. That puzzle piece, whatever that thing is not going to fit perfectly in that God-shaped hole inside of you. Only God is going to fill that hole. Only God can be that true source of contentment. And that's so, so important. And once again, if you're not a person of faith and you're watching this show, I'm not trying to offend you. I'm not trying to go to a place that you're not willing to go. I'm just speaking the truth that I know. And the truth that I know is that I am most content when I am looking up. I am most content when I am trusting the provider of what I have with what I have, and not believing that I have to have more, and not believing that I am the source of all of it and I'm creating all of this success in my life. No, God is creating all of this success in my life, and I am trusting Him to provide for me, to allow me to grow, allow me to move forward. But I have to do that with the idea of filling that God-shaped hole with God and not with things. So yeah, money is temporary, right? Money is not something that is gonna be around forever. One of these days you're gonna pass away and you will have no money. There will be no currency for you, right? But we do need it. We need it on earth. We need it to eat. We need it to live. We need it to do all the basics of life, right? We need it to buy the things that we want. We need it to go on the trips that we want to go on. But it's important to understand that money can vanish in an instant. Money can go away. We have to be prepared to be content in a place where money is not there, where we can't rely on that for our feeling of safety. I'm guessing most of you have some job, have some career that you're working towards. What if you lose that job? Well, the money's not coming in anymore, obviously, right? So if that money's not coming in, it's gone away. It's vanished. You have to be content in that place as well, right? People losing their jobs. It's been a big deal lately. It's been all in the news because of the COVID-19 situation, that so many people have lost jobs. So many people don't have this security that they felt like they had in the particular job that they had. And so we see a lot of people, and it's sad, committing suicide and being depressed because of that lack of a job. Well, that all kind of stems back to being discontent in the first place, putting your security in this thing, putting your security in the money that you have, in the ability to gain more money, right? But if you're content in that place and you're able to pick yourself up, grow forward, have a plan, be intentional about what you're doing, go get a new job, go work a bunch of side hustles, find a way to make ends meet, you can still be content in that place. Even though that is a very tough place to be, I am certain of it, it's a very tough place to be, you can still be extremely content in that place. The fact that money is temporary, though, doesn't mean that we should take it for granted. Money is a great tool. It's a fantastic tool. It can allow you to give to people and organizations that you want to give to. It can allow you to buy things for yourself and for your children and for other people that either you want or you need. It's fantastic in those places. It can allow you to invest and grow for the future. All those things are extremely good. So we can't take money for granted, but we do have to understand its ability to not be there anymore. It's temporary status. That's why we can't put all of our hope in it. That's why we can't be relying on money for our happiness and for our gratitude. We must be grateful for what we have before we have money. We must be grateful before we have a job that we love. We must be grateful really before we have anything. We have life and we have the ability to move forward, and we have the ability to grow from the situation that we're in. We have the ability to fill that God-shaped hole with God, like I talked about earlier. And that should be enough. That should be enough for your contentment. If you don't feel like it is, you really have to look at yourself and go, where am I discontent? Where am I falling short? I worry a lot. That's where I fall short. I fall short in the area of worry and anxiety. And I have to remind myself that worrying about the future is not going to help me make the future any better. Being anxious about what's going to happen is not going to make what's going to happen any different. It's a heart issue. It's an issue with me being discontent with what I have and not being grateful for what I have. And I'm sure many of you have the same issues. That's why we're talking about it today. That's why it's something that it's the second video. It's the second episode of this show, because it is so important to be content. So our final point is, well, if we're wanting to be content, if contentment is key, what do content people do? What do content people do? Content people set priorities. Content people have a priority list and don't deviate from that priority list. And at the top of that priority list for any person of faith is likely God, is likely bringing glory to God. And you don't have to have money to do that. You don't have to have money to bring God glory. And if that's the top of your priority list, and then I'm sure things from there are like family and your children and your job and your school and whatever it may be, right? You have to have priorities that you're going to live by. You have to have priorities that say, I'm going to put my time into this thing first, and then this thing, then this thing, then this thing. I'm not going to put anything out of order. I'm not going to put my job above my family. I'm not going to put my job above my relationship with God. That's going to create discontentment. That's going to create a situation where I'm not grateful for what I have because I'm putting this worldly thing above this thing, this person, this being that is providing everything for me already. So what else? What else do content people do? They give generously. No matter if they have much or have little, they give generously. Being content means I'm grateful for what I have. I see what I have is good, and I see the needs of other people. You're able to look outward to other people and see needs instead of your own wants and needs. You're able to look out and see that person needs help. I'm going to help that person. That organization is something good. That organization is doing a good thing. I want to be a part of that. This is just something that content people do, and it's going to be a huge part of what we talk about on this show, is that giving is actually really fun. Giving is actually something that once you do it, it's really hard to stop. It's really hard to fall out of that habit, and it's a fun habit to have, to see that the differences you can make in other people's lives can be extremely good, can be helpful, can be something that you can look at and go, I didn't get fulfillment from money. I got fulfillment from the thing that the money allowed me to do for other people. So what else do content people do? There's two more things that I really want to touch on. Content people do save for the future because, like I said, they're grateful for what they have now. Most really content people aren't spending everything they have. They're actually saving some. They're actually investing a good amount. And so when it comes to looking forward, they're always looking for that ability to grow, that ability to, like I said earlier, crock-pot timing, slowly and meticulously putting money away, saving money so that their future is as good or better than they're today, because they know that they're going to need it. They know there's wisdom in that. Just because you're content doesn't mean that you're just willing to blow it all or you're willing to get out of balance financially, which is something that we'll talk about later this week. Content people, they understand that money is not their master. They understand that it's not something that's going to drive the way that they live their lives. So they're willing to delay gratification. They're willing to delay, like I said earlier, having payments on that BMW for 84 months. They're going to be able to delay that and push that to later. They're going to be able to save money today, invest money today so that they can live better, live comfortably later and be content with what they have later as well. It's really hard to save your money if you don't feel grateful for what you have. It's really hard to save your money. It's really hard to invest your money if you're always looking to need more of it, to need more of the things that you have in your home or wherever, to have a new car, to have new this, new that. If you're constantly looking at that, then you're probably not going to save much money. You're not going to invest much towards your future. That's why we say content people are making that decision to save towards their future. Content people also do this last thing, which is really a two-parter, but I kind of put it together, is that they enjoy what they have and don't whine. Like, content people, whether they have much or whether they have little, they do enjoy it. They aren't in the race forward to have more, so they're able to enjoy what they have. They're able to be happy where they are, and happy people, you typically don't see them whining and crying about what other people have or what they don't have. So those kind of things kind of play together. So you'll see that content people, they may have much, they may have little, but they're going to be happy with it, and they're not going to groan and moan and do all those things that we were saying earlier are indicators of discontentment. At the end of the day, contentment is probably not going to change your bank account overnight. It's probably not going to change that family member who needs an attitude adjustment overnight. Contentment is a process. Becoming content, especially when you're deep in discontent, when you have a lot of those indicators of discontentment, it's a slow process to make changes in your life that you can step forward over time and have a plan, follow a process that will allow you to be in a content place, to be grateful for what you have, and to fill that hole in you, to fill that emptiness that you feel with God, and the things that He provides for you are just secondary to that. You can fill that hole inside of you with God and not fill it with things, and God will still provide for you. God will still do things for you that you're not going to expect, that are apart from anything you may be looking forward to or planning for. God is really good at breaking your plans, and that's a really important thing to talk about here, because yes, content people have plans, but God can break your plans really easily, and especially when you're discontent, especially when you're going in a wrong direction, He can break those plans. He can take that job away. He can take that money away to adjust your view of life from things, from possessions, from money, to Himself. When it comes down to it, contentment can and will change you if you're willing. If you're willing to make changes in your own life, if you heard some of these things about discontentment that I talked about, and you say, yeah, that's me, I need to step into a different place, I can help with that. You can talk to me. You can talk to a trusted person close to you about some of these things that you're struggling with. Like I said in my last video, it's very important to talk about your struggles with money and possessions. The way you can talk to me, though, if you need to, is you can go to our website, www.mnowithdylan.com, and click on the Work with Dylan tab. I'd be glad to do financial coaching sessions with you. And a lot of that is not finance at all. It's emotional, it's relational, it's being able to break some of these habits that we have that are tearing us down financially, that are tearing us down in the way we live our lives. So hey, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you watching this second episode of MNO. I still need something from you though. I need you to like this video. I need you to comment on this video if you have something to say. I need you to subscribe. Click that big red subscribe button and make it light up. Subscribe to my channel. Click the bell. Get notifications for every piece of content that we put out on YouTube. If you're on the podcast, then click subscribe on iTunes or Spotify. All of those things are going to help me bring you good content day after day, week after week, month after month. Follow us on social media at MNO with Dylan. Also, just tune in tomorrow. Tune in for the rest of this week. Tune in every week. We are posting something Monday through Saturday. And yeah, we take Sundays off, but we're always posting something that could be really beneficial to you. All of our videos come out at 6 a.m. The new videos come out 6 a.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday. Saturdays are our weekly rewinds that you can look at that are the broader topics of the things I talked about throughout the week. And all of those things can be extremely useful resources to you. So continue tuning in, continue watching these videos, and we'll move forward to financial topics. But we have to hit some of these emotional topics that are really closely tied to your finances first before we can really get to that place. Tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll talk about a specific cure for your financial stress, your financial worries that you really may be interested in hearing about. Thank you guys for tuning into this second episode of MNO with Dylan. I am Dylan Howell. God bless.